Let's talk about domain and range. If you look up the definition of domain and range online, usually those definitions are written in a very complicated language. So let's make things simple. Domain of a function is the place where x lives. So that means domain refers to x. How about range? Range of a function is a place where y lives. So when people mention domain, that means x. When people mention range, that means y. So first of all, I have a table. How do you describe the domain and range to me? So the domain, so here is how we do the first one, the domain. So domain, so here is how I do it. I write x equals to all the x values. That means every single x value in the first row. So -5, -2, 0, 1, 4, and 9. And then range, so y value, and then 7, there are 2a, so 1a is enough, so -6, -1, and 30. Let's make that look like a -1. -1 and 30. So the next problem, how about a graph? So the domain, where is the domain? So the domain I see from -5 and then to -1. So if you add more to the graph, so when x is equals to -5, I have -3, x equals to -1, and then x equals to 2, and then x equals to 6. And then do you see that there is a line connecting the 2 points, the -5 and the -1? So those points count. So this one, when you write a domain, you have to go like this. So x is, I will use a compound inequality to do so. I will say x is between -5 and +6. So look, this is the x value, right? And then this is the x value. You have the smallest x value all the way on the left and the biggest x value all the way on the right. So that's why I say domain x is between -5 and +6. What about range? What is the biggest y value? The biggest y value is y equals to 3. So y is equals to 3. And then the smallest y value is y equals to -6. So that's right. I'm going to put y is between past small number on the left. So -6 and +3. All right. So domain from -5 all the way to 6. So x is between -5 and 6. You use an equal under the less than, because the -5 there is a solid dot, at 6 there is a solid dot. And then the range, the biggest range is y equals to 3, the smallest range is y equals to -6. So we write y is between -6 and 3. So in this compound inequality, we have small numbers on the left, big numbers on the right. So how about the next one? The next one, we have individual dots. So there is no line connecting the two dots. So we don't have to include the x values between the 2 points. So for the domain, I will just take all the x values. So -5, -3, 0, 2, and 3. So for domain, I will go like this. X equals to a curly bracket, -5, -3, 0, 2, and 3. If you put a set of number in a square bracket, we call this a set of numbers. So it's a set of number, right? Not one individual number. And the range is the y value. So y is equals to, we have -6, -1, and then 0, and then a 2, and then a 3. So that's the range. So we have 2 more problems down here. Actually, we have 2 more. Do we have 2 more? No, that's it. So last 2 problems. So how about this type of function? So this is 0, 0, but you can see the x value goes all the way to the right, right? So the x is an arrow that goes all the way to the right. So what is the domain and what is the range? So this is how we describe the domain. So for the domain, let's use up my pen instead of the highlighter. So the domain, this is how I call this. X is greater than or equal to 0. So I will write x greater than or equal to 0. Is there another way to write this domain? Yes, you will have to use interval notation, and the interval is discussed in the previous video. Or you can write x such that x goes from 0 and then all the way to positive infinity. So x, you start at 0, x equals to 0. And what is the biggest x value? The biggest x value goes all the way to the right-hand side. So that means x can be extremely big. So therefore, I use positive infinity. And then right next to 0, you see there is a square bracket because there is a solid dot. X can be equal to 0. That's why I use a solid square bracket. And then for the infinity, I use a parenthesis because we don't know how big that number is. So for positive and negative infinity, you always use a parenthesis. Okay, so let's get rid of those marked. And then let's proceed to the range. So the range, what is the smallest phi value? The smallest phi value is equal to 0. And then as x gets bigger and bigger, y gets bigger and bigger. So therefore, y is greater than or equal to 0. Or you can write y such that y goes from 0 and all the way to positive infinity. Okay, how about the next one? So the next one, we don't see any arrows, so they are all dots. And then for the domain, x goes from -4 all the way to 4, right? So 4 starting at -4 and then goes all the way to 4. So that's why you write x is between -4 and +4. So how about the domain? How about the range? So the range y is between 1. The smallest y is -5. The highest y is 3. So y is between small value on the left and big value on the right. And this is called compound inequality. All right. And then, what about the interval? So for the interval, you can do x such that x is between -4 and +4. And then for the range, you can do y such that y is between -5 and +3. We use square bracket on every single number because they are all solid dots. Solid dot means x can be equal to -4 and +4. Y can be equal to -5 and +3. Alright, so that is the end of this video. If you think my instruction is helpful and clear, share the video for me, click the like button, and then click the subscribe as well if you are on your way out. I will see you all in the next lesson. Signing out.